As we record this segment, it is 25 degrees below zero in Ottawa. And in the winter in Ottawa, an old retired man's fancy turns to golf. One of the Ottawa region's most dedicated golfers is David Stockwell. And David has a special hobby, that is collecting royal golf courses. What is a royal golf course, David?
Well, I guess the first thing to say is there are no royal golf courses. There are royal golf clubs and royal golf societies, and the courses are attached to them. So some of the royals, such as the R&A, which is the second oldest royal, doesn't have a golf course.
The R&A?
The Royal and Ancient.
The Royal and Ancient.
We know that one in St. Andrews. They play on the old course in St. Andrews, and there are a few other like that in Scotland. There's the Royal Montrose. They play at the Montrose course. And there is the oldest royal, which is the Royal Perth, and they play at a course called North Inch, which I played.
North Inch.
Inch. 1 inch.
How does one get to be a royal society?
That's very good. A royal society or club. That's a good question. The way you do it is, it was the royal prerogative, and so it started under William IV in 1833, and you applied through the keeper of the privy purse, and so it usually at the beginning was a club where one of the royals had played or one had visited, and then because of the visit, the crown, as it were, would grant them royal status. So there are now 61 royal golf courses. Oops, I just said the wrong thing.
Yes.
There are royal golf clubs or societies. Worldwide.
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 The whole world.
That's right.
How many in Canada?
Currently there are 6 in Canada. They stretch from Vancouver Island, Royal Colwood, to Alberta, Royal Mayfair, Saskatchewan, Royal Regina, and finally the 3 that are in Quebec, Royal Ottawa, Royal Montreal, and Royal Quebec.
So the Royal Ottawa, yes, it is in Quebec, isn't it? Well, how did you get started on this hobby of tracking down the royals?
It started in the late 1960s. My father-in-law is a member of Royal Montreal, and we were playing one day, and I asked him, I said, this royal, I mean, I've seen royal this and royal that, how does that get done? And so he said that his great-grandfather had been the secretary of the first Royal Montreal course when it was on Fletcher's Field in the center of Montreal, and he knew a little bit about it. He knew he'd played a few because they have reciprocal rights at some of them. So if you're a member of Royal Montreal, you can play free at Royal Ottawa, for instance. But he didn't know very much of the history and the movement. So I started to do some research about it, and I get back to him every once in a while and tell him about my journeys of playing the Royals and some little vignettes that I find out about them. And he's an interesting guy in his own right because he is the longest serving member of the Royal Montreal Golf Course, 75 years this year.
As a member?
As a member.
Wow.
And
does he play his age?
He did up until last year. Oh yeah, he played under his age. He was a very keen guy, carrying his golf clubs.
How many royal golf courses have you played?
Well, I've played 45 of the current 61. Now, there are a few that used to be royals that are no longer royals, and some of those I played as well. So I suppose 47 or 48 that at one time were or are royals. And that would include Royal Hong Kong, which no longer is a royal, and Royal Singapore, which is no longer a royal. And the Berkshire course, of course, south of London, which is no longer a royal.
I think I've played Royal Hong Kong. 30 years ago, it may have been a royal. All right, if these are private clubs, which I presume most of them are, how do you get on their golf courses? You as a foreigner, and most of them in any case.
Most of the time I would write to the secretary, And I've never been refused a game, even on private courses. In the UK, most of the courses are, even the private ones, in some way you can get on. And you write to the secretary and you tell them when you want to play and the little project that I'm on. And they're always very kind. Some of them will actually give you a courtesy of the course, so you can play free, and then usually I'll buy them lunch or give them a nice bottle of ice wine or something afterwards.
What's your favorite course? Do you have any mementos?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, this is a little brochure from Royal Calcutta, and I played that one on my way from New Delhi to Bangkok. I stopped for the afternoon in Calcutta, rented a taxi, took the taxi to the club, borrowed the secretary's golf clubs, got back into the car after I'd finished, and continued on my journey to Bangkok. And Royal Calcutta is a very interesting course because it's the oldest golf course outside of the UK. It was established in 1829, and so it outdates a lot of courses around the world. It was only made a royal in 1911, but as an old course, it's one of the ones that is really quite interesting to play, and it was a lot of fun.
Outside the UK, what country has the most royal courses?
It would be Australia. It has 8.
Oh, really?
And I played a couple there. There are 4 in South Africa, 6 in Canada. There is 1 in Ireland, in Dublin. There are 3 or 4 in Northern Ireland, and then of course you get the Scottish courses and the English courses and the courses in Wales. But there are also courses in Sri Lanka, in Kenya, in Zimbabwe, and a few others around the world, including one that I just found out about recently in the Czech Republic, which is pretty interesting. Gives me another place to travel.
Are the courses special? The fact that they've been royal, what is the criterion nowadays to be named a royal course, and how do you go about it?
Yeah, in reality, some of the courses associated with the clubs are really exceptional. Royal Melbourne is a spectacular links course, as is Royal Aberdeen, where I played last spring. On the other hand, the way that this is done in Canada is you would write to the Governor General's office. The office would then pass the recommendation to the Heritage Department, who would then go back to the Governor General with a positive or negative recommendation. If it's positive, it would go to the Queen, but the current information I had was that the Queen is no longer giving royal status, as it were, to sporting clubs.
Oh, that's going to be a big disappointment to Ottawa's Pinecrest course. I know that they were quite keen on it. David, what's the next course that you hope to play, the next Royal?
I think at this time of year, given the weather, I think Royal Malta would be the one I'd like to go to.
Oh, can I go with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.